Money Moicano in the building. That's how Moicano does it, baby. Woo! Oh my God, I'm so excited. Let's get into it. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome. I'm going to come off the bat and say this. Most of this episode will be dedicated to Renato Show Me the Money Moicano, right? Moicano just came off a fantastic performance. I'm going to get into it. But besides that, I think I also want to touch on two other things, and then we'll see how the week unfolds. There wasn't really much in the news this week, but I want to also talk about Strickland teaming up with Alex Pereira ahead of Alex Pereira's fight with Khalil Roundtree. I have a couple of thoughts on that, and who knows? Let me see if you guys agree with me or disagree. I love the disagreements, by the way. And then I want to talk about Kevin Lee. Do you guys remember Kevin Lee? Yes, that Kevin Lee. The chicky wobbly legs Kevin Lee, right? I want us to have a conversation with Kevin Lee, just where he's at mentally or career-wise, whichever one, I'm fine. I can dig into either one. But let's start with Renato Moicano. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 24. Let's have a conversation. Guys, listen. Last week, I made a video, and I said in that video I was very worried for Renato Moicano because Renato Moicano was going into enemy territory to fight a straight-up killer. I thought that the UFC was feeding Renato Moicano to the wolves. I thought they were throwing him into the slaughterhouse, having him, of all people, fight Benoit St-Denis. Listen, there's a reason for that. And first off, let's start it this way. I don't want to see anybody telling me anything or saying anything online about they believed that Renato Moicano was going to win this fight with Benoit St-Denis. I will not buy anybody's story who said they believe that. Nobody is going to believe that story. So guys, if you're one of those people who wants to say, oh, well, I actually thought Moicano was going to win that fight. No, you're not. You're a liar. You freaking liar. You are not. You did not know. Right? Everybody thought Moicano would lose. Everybody except who? Renato Moicano. Listen, Moicano just reached a new level of respect for me today. New level, new heights, right? Every time I think about Money Moicano, I think about, the after the Octagon interviews when he wins, and I think about just, how funny he is offline, right? Out of the Octagon. Moicano has a very, very he has a very interesting and entertaining it factor about him. He's someone you'd like to listen to. Whenever he's talking, whenever Moicano is on a podcast, you want to listen. He's going to make you laugh. He's going to say his opinion just how it is. And I think that's very refreshing, right? However, We always fail to realize one thing. Moicano is actually a good fighter. This guy has spent 10 years in the UFC, right? And he's probably on a 70% give or take win rate compared to for all his fights, right? Moicano has a fairly decent fight record. It's not so bad. It's a very, very solid Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner. And I always thought his wrestling was, below par, but his striking was fairly decent. And I say decent, I don't say crisp. It was very decent. But coming up against a straight real-life killer in Benoit St-Denis. Benoit St-Denis is a former French Special Forces fighter. And I mean soldier, essentially, right? And if you guys know anything about the French Special Forces, you know those guys don't mess around, right? You ever wondered, how many times do you hear about terrorists flying into France to try to, refuel their jets? If you ever try to kidnap, people in France, or you do a terrorist attack and you're still in France, most likely you're not going to make it out alive if you come across the French Special Forces. And Benoit St-Denis was one of them. He comes out of that service and decides to pursue MMA. And he's taking that mindset from the military or the Special Forces into the octagon. And that boy has been straight up executing his opponents. Execution upon execution with brutal finishes, right? The only time we ever saw him be slightly human in his fight against Dustin Poirier. And that makes me wonder, just how good is Dustin the Diamond Poirier? Because Poirier was the first person to ever make Benoit St-Denis look human. I'm not saying Poirier was the first person to defeat Benoit St-Denis. No. First person to make him look human was Dustin Poirier. Now, coming off that loss to Dustin Poirier, you know that Benoit St-Denis was coming into this next fight like a savage. The mindset he must have been on to come in and completely kill Renato Moicano he was going to prove a statement. Then you have Benoit St-Denis in France, in front of the home crowd. What further variables do you need to add to know that Renato Moicano would not have come out of that alive? Okay, everybody, not just casuals like me. I'm talking experts like Michael Bisping and so many other people, right? If you see where MMA experts had the picks, most people picked Benoit St-Denis to completely obliterate Renato Moicano. But Moicano had other plans. Moicano comes into this fight, and he's been talking, throughout the week on the press runs. Moicano has been saying that he was going to actually completely take over this fight. I listen and I'm like, yeah, right. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you can do that, Money Moicano. I don't know if you're capable. Man, listen, Moicano came in there and put on the performance of his life. Moicano came in there, and in the first round, Moicano was able to grab on to Benoit St-Denis and take him down and completely controlled, ragdolled, bullied, busted him up the entire round. Like literally, at the end of the first round, Renato Moicano still looked fresh, but Benoit St-Denis, it was bad. He looked completely busted up. Eyes shot with cuts all over the place. Both eyes almost, I think the right eye was almost shot. The left eye was like huge, and he had a welt at the back of his left ear. Because you literally, Renato Moicano went in there and did enough damage to last 4 rounds. He did that in the first round and came out fresh. I mean, this guy came out looking very fresh. Not a scratch on him. And I'm like, I was watching this fight, I ain't even gonna lie. I was really scared for Moicano. To when that started happening and things started transitioning, I'm like, what the hell is going on? What kind of twilight zone am I in? What am I looking at? What's going on? Right? Guys, this is why I love mixed martial arts. This is why I say you can never predict mixed martial arts, really. You know, that's why I have preferences all the time and not predictions. I keep saying this. I do preferences. I don't do predictions. Because you might think it's going one way, but then in the fight, it goes another way. Because the variables are just too much. Anyway, back to Renato Moicano. At the end of the first round, Moicano had so much damage inflicted on Benoit St-Denis that I don't even know why they let him start the second round. Now the second round happened and there was a good decent back and forth. I think at this point, even though Benoit St-Denis had one eye completely closed and the second eye was open, he was still able to stop all the takedowns. Moicano tried a couple of takedowns and Benoit St-Denis was able to stop those takedowns. And there was something very smart about what Moicano was doing, right? He drew a lot of jabs at the targeted right eye of Benoit St-Denis, the damaged right eye. Plus, when Renato Moicano saw a chance to do a takedown, if he went in for the takedown, he shot for the takedown. If he couldn't get it, he didn't bother struggling too long to execute. So when he goes in and and Benoit stops the takedown, if Renato noticed that he couldn't take it, he'd let go. And then it'd be a stand-up fight. And even in the stand-up fight, I thought Moicano did very good. This is the first time I can say I really thought Moicano's boxing was crisp. It was very crisp, right? Moicano's jab was on point today. And if you guys don't believe me, please go back and watch it, right? His jab was very good. His defense was also solid. And then he kept feinting too, where it's like he kept going, changing levels, giving Benoit St-Denis a very tough time in actually articulating what position Renato really was. And I understand when you've gone through a first round where you were grabbed on by this jiu-jitsu expert, taken to the ground and completely grounded and pounded to obliteration. When you come back, if you do come back for a second round, I can see how you're very careful to ensure that you don't get taken down again. And even just strength-wise, Moicano looked way stronger than Benoit St-Denis. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. Right? And then in the second round, at the end of the second round, the doctor comes in. They call the doctor in. Mark Goddard called the doctor in. The doctor comes and looks at Benoit St-Denis, does all the in-octagon tests, and he noticed, right, listen, Benoit could not see out of his right eye. The right eye was completely shut. And as such, the match was stopped, with Renato Moicano coming home with the W. And of course, as you know, Moicano would have to make a statement in the octagon as per usual. And of course, he went more political this time. It wasn't anything too crazy, but it went very political. But I do like something he did, which also reflects on me too. Renato Moicano called out Michael Bisping. You probably didn't hear it loud on the mic, but if you listen really well, he called out Michael Bisping. Like, hey, listen, I heard you say this and that. You didn't believe in me. But look who's the man tonight. Money Moicano. Right? And Michael Bisping, listen. And there was something, okay, so I need to point something out though. There was something Michael Bisping said in that Octagon interview. He started off his interview with Moicano and said this. He said, Renato, not many people would like to win a match like that. What do you mean, Michael Bisping? What do you mean not many people would like how? Like how? By going in, beating up a straight up killer, rearranging and smashing his face to the point where his ability to continue the fight was compromised. And then the doctors had to stop. That is a big win in my opinion. Because guess what? Going into the first round, Benoit St-Denis has the skill set, has the knowledge to defend anything that Moicano could have done. Benoit St-Denis could have been in that fight and probably even be the one to do the same to Renato Moicano. So why are you trying to downplay Moicano's success? That's what it looked like. Don't talk to me about, well, nobody likes to win a match like that. Shut the hell up, Bisping. What the hell do you mean? That was a good way to win a fight. He went in there and beat the living shit out of Benoit St-Denis. He earned it. Now, I heard Bisping say Benoit St-Denis won the second fight. If you notice the second round, notice in the second round, Renato, again, he didn't go guns blazing. It was actually more patient. And the person who needed a victory or who needed to put in more effort, especially after the first round, was Benoit St-Denis. So if Benoit won the second round, okay, great. All good and kudos to him. But listen, now granted, anything can happen in MMA, even to the last second. You can judge that by Justin Gaethje versus Max Holloway. Anything can happen even to the very last second. But the chances of Benoit trying to move forward against Moicano, based on how Moicano's boxing was in the first and second round, and how much damage Moicano had done to Benoit's face, the chances of Benoit going forward to inflict damage on Moicano without receiving more damage on his face was pretty much next to none. So can we all agree that if Benoit had made that move and Moicano continued to batter up his face even more, it would have been a worse night for Benoit St-Denis? Can we agree? Can we agree that when the doctor came in and completely saved his life? Can we agree on that? This is not TDC saying, these are just facts. Facts. Don't talk to me about, oh, well, nobody likes to win that way. That was a good way to win. I'm sorry. That was a W. It's different if maybe Benoit had, one strike, or there was maybe a brief moment of error in the first round. If Benoit was winning the first round, and then there was a moment of error where Renato Moicano capitalized on it and gave him the cut or the bruise, whatever, and that affected his ability to continue in the second round, then I'd sort of consider that possibly. But no, Moicano beat the living crap shit out of Benoit St-Denis. And because he did that, Benoit St-Denis' ability to fight was compromised. That is part of mixed martial arts. Do not take away any credit for Money Moicano. Now that we got that cleared up, this is something I didn't want to say. Something Moicano said that pissed me off, and I'll tell you what it is. Now, we all know we've been waiting for Moicano and Paddy Pimblett. That is the fight we all want to see. That is the fight I was hoping to get if Moicano came out of this alive. And I really thought Moicano was not going to make it out of this fight. I really thought so. So Michael Bisping asked him who you want to pick, and he says he wants the easy fight. He wants easy money fight, and he calls out Dan Hooker. And he calls out Paddy Pimblett. No, bro, Money Moicano, listen to me. Listen to me. Moicano, we want you to fight Paddy the Baddy Pimblett, okay? Paddy Pimblett, nobody else. Don't fight anybody else. Right now, that is the fight the people want to see. And I bet you Paddy Pimblett was watching this fight and he's going like, God damn. Is that what I'm going to go up against? Because Moicano again put on the performance of his life. Right? It was such a beautiful match. Listen, guys, I enjoyed it. Makes, when I see these kinds of matches, it just makes me appreciate why I've always loved mixed martial arts. Honorable mention would be on this fight night card would be Nasruddin Imavov and Brandon Allen. Those two boys went to war, baby. But Imavov literally got that. He won that pretty well, right? I don't want to go into any details. It was just a very entertaining fight. I don't know what's next for Imavov. I will keep watching to see what direction his next fight takes. But tonight was Renato Moicano. Let's all agree on that. No issues. Uncle Dana, you saw it. Pay Moicano his money. Pay Moicano his money, baby. And then set up that Paddy Pimblett versus Renato Moicano fight. This is not a conversation. We want to see it. We don't care anymore. Let's see that fight. We want to see it. We all agree. Paddy Pimblett ran through Bobby Green, granted. Renato Moicano ran through Benoit St-Denis, granted. Those two guys gotta go. They have to go at it. It only makes sense. And it's a fight we want to see. Transitioning now to Alex Pereira and Sean Strickland, the bromance there. But so it was in the news some time ago that Sean Strickland is assisting Alex Pereira in preparation for his fight against Khalil Roundtree on October 5th. I heard that news and I'm like, Sean Strickland training with Alex Pereira, or is Sean Strickland trying to... Okay, I'm going to go straight to this. What value can Sean Strickland bring to Alex Pereira in preparation for his fight against Khalil Roundtree? What's he going to do? Right? What's the value? Typically, when fighters are training in the training camp, right, they typically bring in other fighters that can mimic the style, the speed, the technique, and the size of their future opponents, right, that they're about to fight. If that is the case, what value does Sean Strickland bring to Alex Pereira's camp? Sean doesn't strike like Khalil Roundtree. Sean doesn't hit as hard as Khalil Roundtree. I'm sorry, it's just what it is. Strickland is who he is. His style is nothing as dynamic or as aggressive as Khalil Roundtree. Strickland is the Philly shell, the Philly shell style. Jabs, front kick. Tries to walk you down. That's it. Then when he finds an opening, he just, goes out here and hopes for the best. That's Sean Strickland's style. It's the same thing over so many fights, right? And it's a very easy style to decipher. I don't know why so many people haven't deciphered it. It's very easy. So if he's not mimicking Khalil Roundtree, and he's not the same size as Khalil Roundtree, and he's not as aggressive as Khalil, what's the value he's bringing to Pereira's camp? It just makes me wonder. Like, wouldn't you want to, like, if you were Glover Teixeira or if you were Alex Pereira, wouldn't you want to bring someone in who sort of, can, who's either fought Khalil Roundtree in the past and probably beaten Khalil? That's the kind of person I would be looking for to come in. Either someone who's beaten Khalil or somebody who has had a very, very competitive fight against Khalil Roundtree. It's the kind of guy I would bring in. That's just me personally. So I don't get where this Alex Pereira issue is coming up with. I don't know why Alex Pereira is bringing Sean Strickland into his camp to train with him ahead of the Khalil fight. It might be a disservice. But then again, there's a lot going on in the camps that we don't know about. Maybe he got someone who can replicate Khalil's style or Khalil's power or Khalil's size or Khalil's technique. I don't know. I'm just going off what they give us. And if anything, if Alex media team is anything to go by, they like to put out Alex Pereira's training or sparring footage a lot. Yet we haven't really seen anybody in the sparring footage in the last couple of weeks that can reflect or mirror Khalil Roundtree's style of fighting. Maybe I'm overthinking this, but it doesn't look like it makes much sense to me. Plus, if you notice, whenever Sean Strickland is sparring with anybody except Alex Pereira, he's always very aggressive. He's always quick to want to punch, right? But I think the only two people that Sean Strickland holds back whenever he's sparring with, at least that we've seen, is Khamzat Chimaev and Alex Pereira. Anybody else, Sean Strickland will spar hard. So now again, think about that. If Sean Strickland is not sparring hard with Alex Pereira, bro, you might have a rough time with Khalil Roundtree, Poatan. Khalil fights like you owe him money. Khalil fights like you executed his dad. That's the kind of energy Khalil brings to his fight, and he's on a 5-fight win streak. I'm just saying, this is something to consider. He is hungry, he's aggressive, and he's coming there to put lights out. This video might not age very well, but this is something to consider. Telling you guys, something might happen. I might be wrong. Poatan has proved me wrong time and time again. So this might be another one. I might be wrong. We will see. We will see. All right, transitioning. Let's talk about Kevin Lee. Kevin Lee. All right, what's the most exciting fights we ever saw Kevin Lee in? Kevin Lee versus Edson Barbosa, Kevin Lee versus Michael Chiesa, and Kevin Lee versus Tony Ferguson. In all those fights, I think the easiest fight for Kevin Lee was the fight with Michael Chiesa. And Chiesa went in there really emotional because, coming off the press conference about, that whole "don't talk about my mom" press conference, that press conference, right? Against Edson Barbosa, guys, the chicken leg dance. You saw that, right? It's a close call. And then Tony Ferguson actually kicked his ass. And then after that, Kevin Lee was just, plagued with knee injuries. After knee injuries, he had to do surgery, and then he went off for a while. Then he came back after his knee surgeries, and the performance has been, up and about. Now, in more recent times, Kevin Lee has been trying to find his way back to the UFC, and he made an offer to the UFC to be on the Contender Series, be a coach on the Contender Series. And I'm like, and the UFC turned him down, by the way. And Kevin doesn't know why. He says it's not a numbers thing, that he has a lot of numbers. And specifically quoted when Dana White came out recently to say that his video, the clip about him wrapping the belt around Belal Muhammad, got about 20 million views, right? On social media. Kevin Lee says he had a sparring footage that his brother put out when he was fighting for a prelim card or something, I believe. And that the video his brother put out of him sparring got 12 million views. So it's not a numbers thing. So I'm thinking to myself, right? Okay, so first and foremost, it is a numbers thing. Belal's video, and I'm using these two videos because these were literally the examples he gave, right? So Belal's video on the one hand is a champion's video. Kevin Lee's video is a UFC fighter training for a prelim video. Belal's video is one where a champion is being crowned, and Kevin's video is not. Belal's video is one where he has 20 million views. Kevin's video is 12 million. You guys see the disparity? And then let's put the icing on the cake here, or the cherry on the top. So Belal's video made 12 million views in how long? How long did it take? Not Belal. Kevin Lee's video made 12 million views, right? In how long? If your video takes 6 months or a year to make 12 million views, and Belal's video takes 5 days or a week to make 20 million views, bro, is that a good comparison for you to use to justify whether or not you do have numbers? Listen, Kevin, I'm just going to give it to you straight. You're not reliable. The UFC is a business of reliability. You're not reliable. You're not reliable. You're not an exciting fighter. You don't move the needle. It is what it is. You've made some name, yeah. Especially your head kick of Gregor Gillespie. And a few other things. But you're not. You're not exciting. You don't move the needle. We don't want to see you, Kevin. We're not interested in your fights. When you left the UFC, we didn't care. We didn't feel like we were missing anything. You see what I'm saying? I hate to break it to you. You're just not an exciting fighter. If you show me an exciting fight you've done in the last 3 years, okay, I'll consider it. But what? You're not an exciting fighter, Kevin Lee. And I feel bad for your career and just how it's going, but you do understand that from a business perspective, you're not good business for the UFC. You don't have numbers, you don't move the needle, and you're not reliable. I don't even know if your skill set is worth anything considering. I don't know, and I'm not trying to be condescending on Kevin Lee. It's just what it is. Nobody's talking about Kevin Lee. Nobody's interested in seeing Kevin Lee. Nobody keeps a track of Kevin Lee's career in and out of the octagon. Nobody cares what Kevin Lee is doing outside the octagon. I don't know how many fans Kevin has. What is the deal, bro? What is the thing you're missing? right? I think you need to look at the career or the career decisions of certain people in and out of the octagon, right? Sometimes if you make a big enough buzz outside the octagon, the UFC will be forced to listen. So since you are not able to make that in the octagon, bro, why don't you focus on what you do outside the octagon? Why don't you be loud? Look at Mike Perry. Mike Perry hasn't been in the UFC since when? God knows. Everybody still talks about Mike Perry. Right? Look at Mike Perry. Align yourself with Mike Perry. Ask Perry, what do you do? How do you handle your social media? Who gives you the ideas, the concepts to create the content? You have to do something. And it's not stuff within the octagon. Do something to get you back in the octagon, and then when you do get in the octagon, Kevin, you have to blow them away. That's how the UFC works. Blow them the heck away. When you do, you might be reconsidered. For now, pipe down. Pipe down. You don't need that in your life, okay? With that being said, guys, I'm happy. I'm gonna enjoy this victory of Renato Moicano. I really loved it. Let's look forward to a couple of good fights coming up. The PPV with Alex Pereira and Khalil Roundtree is coming around the corner. Juliana Pena versus Raquel Pennington is the co-main event. See how that plays out. Couple of fight nights with Roy Val. Some other ones happening as well. And then in October, baby, we also have Max Holloway versus Ilia Topuria. That little cluster match we're waiting for. We're all waiting. We're waiting for that match. Okay? If you've been here this long, I thank you. I appreciate you. I love you guys. Please like, share, subscribe, hit the notification button of this video, and please engage in the comment section. For those of you who are giving me who leave words of encouragement, I thank you and appreciate you. I'm really putting in the work, like I keep saying, putting in the work for this channel, trying to grow this community of casuals, because that's really what we are. We're casuals. We're not experts. Okay, there might be a few experts listening in here. I'm beginning to think, because a few things happen after I say them. I'm like, did he listen to me? Did I reflect? Did I strike a nerve with these fighters? Just in case any of you see this, right? Just in case. And I don't know. But just in case any of you see this, I need you to understand something. I respect all of you, but I'm still going to talk some crap, okay? I'm going to talk some crap, and I'm going to share my opinion on what I think is happening in the fight game. But I respect the heck out of every single fighter. I will never stop saying that. Anybody who has the balls to step into the octagon and make us happy, you have my respect. TDC out. Peace.